All right, welcome to the One Shot Podcast. We are here wrapping up our week at the Super Bowl. We've had a blast. We've gotten to talk to some incredible athletes, incredible people that are changing the world, whether it be Shelley, CEO of Sleep Number, the American Cancer Society that are just impacting lives everywhere. But I think one that we've been the most excited about, who this might, officially your first podcast.
It is.
After being named to the National Football Hall of Fame. Demarcus Ware, former teammate. We had a cup of coffee together in Dallas, but man, you are an icon in the city and in the league, and we just appreciate you joining us, man.
I'm glad you guys invited me on the show. I remember a couple of weeks ago we were just talking, and good seeing you too, and you too, Ben. So man, thank you guys for inviting me on.
And I see you brought your Super Bowl ring. I see you got the bling just like hanging out there.
I have one. You have many.
I only have one. Those suckers are huge.
I'm really surprised Darren didn't just go like this and just let them cling in his pocket.
I'm afraid to bring mine.
He has a couple.
A couple weeks ago, you two did the press conference before the announcement. And man, I got a little nervous because y'all were so good together. I was like, Darren's going to replace us.
100%.
With Demarcus, they're going to start their own podcast and take off without us. So that was awesome.
I had a great time with him as we talked about what we went through, college, high school, so on and so forth. And it was a lot of things that people didn't know. Because people think they see the final product, but they don't know the start of how everything actually goes.
And I agree, because there was things watching that interview with you two, there was things I learned about you, and I feel like I've gotten to know you over the last 5 years or so. But that's what's great about like this Super Bowl experience is you bring a bunch of people into a room that can connect and relate. That nobody else understands. And so just great stories come out. We had dinner with another couple, and it's nice to be able to relate to that. And that's what's really cool about events like this, is getting everybody in and then go have some fun and have some good food and have some drinks and have a great time.
And you don't know who you're going to meet.
You don't, man. It's so true. It's so true. And I'm back home. This is home. This is where I was born and raised, man. And I'm running into people that I hadn't seen. It's a little different for me because I'm running into people that I hadn't seen in 20, 25 years. And I'm out last night and saw a friend from a long time ago, and it's just good to catch up.
And it's that locker room vibe.
It is.
I'm telling you what, like all of us have played or done something and been in a locker room, been a leader some type of way. And when you ask a player, what do you miss most? This is what you miss. That camaraderie, that having fun, the stories that you can tell, all the battles, right? And it's like we're getting together and we're doing that.
So the road to the Hall of Fame was a long one. So let's go back and let's quickly run through kind of your story, upbringing, because it's just impressive. I mean, to make it there is impressive, but then just to know your journey, coming out of a smaller school and making the impact that you did there, and then the immediate impact you made in the league for America's team, nonetheless. I mean, it was impressive. But let's go back to the beginning. And
I think it all started in apartment 56, about an 800 square foot apartment in Auburn, Alabama, in the projects, and either cutting grass, selling Cokes at the Auburn University football game, or working in a chicken coop. Either one of those two for 25 cents an egg, and I would probably pick about 100 eggs a day at least.
Were you slinging eggs?
Oh, I was slinging eggs.
Right now,
I was just imagine slinging eggs today.
Right. Oh, they are high.
Right now, it's on par with the drug game.
Right. It is exactly. So I was a wide receiver, and I thought that's where I was going to end up. 185 pounds, slow as crap, running a 4.7, and I got one scholarship to Troy. Actually, O.C. Umenyiora helped me get that scholarship, and Tracy Rocker came in and he was like, Demarcus, if you get out of detention, y'all heard what I just said, I give you a scholarship. And O.C.'s vouching for me to come down to Troy. So I come down to Troy and they say, Demarcus, we want for you to wear number 94, and we want you to play defensive end. I said, what? Wide receiver, the defensive end.
But wait, had you ever rushed the passer to this?
No.
Never.
What?
No, I played rover. I played rover in defense, on defense, and they were like, see ball, get ball.
Right.
That's how it was. And so when they told me to put my hand down in the dirt, and OC was on the other side, OC weighed about 280. OC was big.
That boy
with Darren Williams. Yeah, with Darren Williams. Yes.
Yeah.
OC, I'm in there playing a 6 technique. They say, you're going to have to learn how to play a 6 technique. I didn't know what that was until I had to get in between the tight end and that tackle.
On the field,
and it was bad. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah. So I got to freshman 15. I grew 3 inches. And 4 years later, 6'4", 250, running a 4.4. So it hit me late.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? You talked about, because we had the same problem in high school, a whole speed issue. Me and speed never
Well, hey, I
Still have that same problem. Ain't like it's ever changed.
Hey, I was going to say, he said 4.7 slow. I'm sitting there thinking, that's pretty fast now.
That's moving. But what was it through college that, I mean, to go from a 4.7 to a 4.4, that's a real jump. Once you get below 4.7, like every 10th of a second, that's a lot of progress. So what was it through that was it just like you hit maturity at that point and your body developed?
Yeah, my body developed from cutting grass every summer, from picking eggs every summer and being out there in that heat.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, not partying as much, not sacrifice. I sacrificed so much. One of the biggest changes in my life that made me not want to go back home, I went back home. I was at this party, and my cousin actually got hit across the head with a gun. And there was a knife on the ground. I picked the knife up. As soon as I picked the knife up, the guy that he was fighting with, the gun was right here at my head like this. And I still feel it to this day. And I dropped the knife and I said, this isn't me. I walked away from it. He put the gun down, and I told myself I'm never going back. And that was a changing point in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
To where I said, I'm not going back home. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get the job done.
Right.
And from that point, something happened like the Grinch, and my heart got bigger.
Yeah.
And I knew from that point on, I said, nobody's gonna stop me. That was like that turning point in my life.
That's a story, man. It's a really great story.
Isn't it crazy just the way that God moves, does things in your life, puts you through trials, puts you through, and we look at it and like, why would you do that to me in the moment? Like, why would you put me through that?
Sometimes you need that push.
You do, man.
Sometimes you need that push. Sometimes if it's mama, you're doing it for mama.
Yeah.
If your parents aren't there, you're doing it for grandma.
Yeah.
Which you talked about your mom.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, it's something in your life that catapults you to be something bigger than yourself, because you sort of look outside of yourself and you start thinking about something bigger, which you can't even fathom, and then something great happens.
Yeah, and the commonality between the two of you specifically, just because y'all are sitting here, is when you're driven by what you just said, something bigger than yourself.
Right.
There's guys, and you've played with a bunch, I played with a bunch, you played with a bunch, that are great players, next level players, but when there's something bigger than themselves, when you're playing for yourself, there's a ceiling.
Right.
But when you play for something bigger than you, that's when you get a gold jacket. That's when you get a gold jacket. That's when you get 3 rings.
Yes.
And so, it's incredible, it gives me chills, man, and sorry you had to go through that experience.
But you know what? I needed it.
Yeah. And I guarantee you wouldn't change it.
I wouldn't change it.
You wouldn't change it.
Even to this day, you could probably feel when I start talking about it, I wake up. I wake up a little bit. And that's how it is, and that's how I played. Every single time I put those pads on, I got that feeling. And it was like God put his hands on me every single time I put the pads on, and he started pressing that X button like Madden, and he started playing that video game.
Right.
So that's the way I felt, and you probably felt the same way.
Absolutely. So when did you know that you could make the transition? Because you played at a smaller school, that you could make the transition to the NFL.
I knew that I could make the transition when I played at LSU against Marcus Spears. I didn't know how big Marcus Spears was, but I also didn't know how big Andrew Whitworth was.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
And I had to play against Andrew Whitworth.
Yeah.
And they were talking the whole time, he's the best tackle in college. And you got Marcus Spears over there. Both of us what's the defensive line trophy? Outland?
Outland, yeah.
Yeah, and I was up in there with him. And I'm like, I'm from Troy, and he's from LSU.
Yes.
I'm on the same level as him.
Yes.
But I got to go against Whitworth.
Right.
And Whitworth, in the interview, he said, this is the fastest guy I'm ever going to go against. And that gave me the confidence that, you know what, you can probably do it. And I beat Whitworth a couple of times in the game. And I said, okay, he's the best in college. And if I can beat him, I'll be all right. Yeah.
So what was your level of passion for the game? Like you said, hey, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be that dude. I'm going to go get it. But was it more of like, hey, football is a means to an end for me, or I just love playing the game?
I love competing.
Okay.
And that was my outlet.
Yeah.
If it's playing chess, I want to beat you.
Yeah.
If it's checkers, I want to beat you.
Yeah.
And this was the opportunity for me now to use my body and get out there and compete. And it was, people say it's the X's and the O's, but they move to me. And so I said, if I can get out there and compete and do this, and nobody's going to throw a flag if I throw a guy down, if I punch him in the face, they're going to let me get out here and do this?
I'm not going to get arrested.
I'm not going to get arrested for this? Cool.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I get to destroy people.
I can destroy people?
They pay me for
And they're going to pay me for this. Not in college, but after college, you're going to pay me to do this? LSU. Nowadays, with everything going on, I would really like to.
There's a big lesson there because you seem like a person that no matter what the career was, you were going to excel.
Yeah.
'Cause you had that mentality. And that's what I've been doing a lot of thinking about lately. I think about kids and the direction we're headed. Suicide, depression, everything's up. And I think part of it is a lack of purpose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to it, but so I think that's a great lesson in that no matter what you're doing, it's the mentality you take to it.
And whatever door opens up for you, that is your door. Own it. Because now with the social media and everything that's going on, you say, well, then I'm going to look at Woody's door. I'm going to look at your door. I'm going to look at your door and say, well, then why did he get? No, what do you have?
Yeah.
And you use that opportunity to the best way that you can, because when you do that, another one opens up some type of way because you went 100 in that.
Yes.
It's like you got to live that.
Yes.
Don't live somebody else's life.
Right.
Live your own.
Yeah, and that goes to the identity, and we'll talk about the transition for you. But that's a real deal, is when your identity's in as a football player, right? Yeah, you can work really hard, but that goes away.
Yeah.
The identity has got to be a competitor.
Yeah.
Nobody can take that away from you.
Yep.
Your identity's got to be in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody can take that away from
Yeah.
you. So when you transition, when you change, that is constant.
Yeah.
And like you said, now you're ready for that next door.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
You're a prime example. So let's talk about that kind of draft process, what that experience was like, and then ultimately landing in Dallas.
I went to 6 visits, and my last visit was Dallas, and I and I ended up actually not going to Dallas. Jerry said we have our guy. The day before that, they had visited with Sean Merriman.
Yep.
So they go back into what they call it, the war room.
Yeah.
And Jerry's like, no, I want Demarcus as my guy over Bill Parcells. So they had a $1 bet that if Demarcus averages 8 sacks in 5 years, Jerry wins. If I don't, Bill Parcells wins.
A $1 bet.
A $1 bet. I have that $1 right now.
I was
actually,
saying, that's
in
awesome.
the
Hey,
poetry.
You have that $1?
I got it.
That's
My
the most
God.
famous
I got
what
a
a
$1 with
billionaire.
this. A $1.
Five
I have
times
that
over.
$1 at home. If Jerry lost, he would be able to get Jerry Jones's jet for a whole year and travel anywhere he wanted to travel. But Jerry said, if I win, you don't get in the jet, and I want for your lady friend to come with me in the jet.
Oh,
And,
Lord, have mercy.
he
Lord,
will
we
tell you that
got
story too.
trafficking going on. We got all kind of stuff.
We do not condone human trafficking.
I was just gonna say, we actually combat human trafficking.
But it was cool and to see that, they had that bet, and guess what? Now I average almost 12 sacks for 12 years.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing to go back and let him tell that story. He actually told it to NFL Network. I think it was like a couple days ago. So
Yeah.
And that's wild, right? See, everyone gives Jerry so much flack, right?
Yeah.
For being too emotional, being too attached, and liking a guy. Then you go look at like Bill Parcells, who's a legend,
Yeah.
right? In evaluating talent and correcting broken trajectories of teams. And, Bill was this one way, and Jerry, who's criticized, was spot on.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I mean, nothing against Sean or anything, but
yeah.
Here you are. And because Jerry has this intuition, right? He sees guys for who they are. And sometimes, like everybody, people disappoint.
Right.
But Jerry really, I think, has this ability to see through a person and really see at the core of who they are.
So talk about, you played in some of the All-Star games, right? What did you play in?
The Senior Bowl.
The Senior Bowl, right? Okay, talk about that experience. Because I know just from other scouts that were there at the Senior Bowl that you showed out at the Senior Bowl.
You know what? I got invited to the Senior Bowl late. So Larry Blakeney, my coach, knew the head guy that did all the scouting and everything. So one of the guys got hurt. So guess who they invited in? I was like third string. And I get out there and I'm saying, dude, y'all let me out here.
Right.
Yeah.
I drove up in that 1982 Mercury Marquise. I seen a lot of Range Rovers out there. I drove up in that thing smoking.
What were you playing?
Huh?
What were you playing? What kind of music were you playing? Something was thumping on that.
You know what? I probably, I'm an Al Green guy.
You're now,
I like Al Green.
Old school, you got it there.
The love and happiness. I mean, cranking it up, baby.
They're like,
I had
who's
to.
this dude?
Yeah, right. Had my suit on and I got out of the car. They got their jogging suits. They got velour, velvet suits. I just walk up in that Men's Warehouse suit.
Yeah.
You got to have the blue shirt with the yellow tie, with the khaki pants.
Hey,
you know what I'm talking about. It's that look.
Straight from church.
It was straight from church.
church.
Actually, I probably look like a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, I get there and they said, hey, Demarcus, why don't you try to rush the passer? And I'm looking at them like, all right. And I go against the top tackle from Alabama. I just crush him.
Yeah.
I was trying to prove a point. And I was a small guy because you got Marcus Spears, you got David Pollard. I'm looking at them like, wow.
Right.
Look how they're monsters.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out here and do what I need to do. I know I can rush the passer. So I crushed the dude. And then they said, well, Demarcus, can you play L5 on the kickoff? I'm going to do that too. I go down there busting heads. Doing what I need to do. Oh, okay, cool. Demarcus, you want to play something else? Whatever y'all want me to play, I'm going to play. And that's how the Senior Bowl happened. Yeah. And then, lo and behold, I got invited to the combine late.
Yeah.
So you weren't even on the combine late?
Nope.
So you were.
Yeah. So I heard this story. You know what? I'm not hearing this story from you. I'm hearing it from a couple scouts.
Right.
Years ago.
Right.
Senior Bowl, people were like, who is this dude in that marquee?
Right.
They just drove up playing Al Green. But they basically said when you came in and they saw you, the athleticism, they were like, oh, this dude is different.
Yeah.
And you just blew up the charts.
Yep. I was a 7th round draft pick before I got to the Senior Bowl. Probably not undrafted, even though I had, I was with Demarcus Spears with the Outland Award and all that. It didn't matter because I came from a small school.
Yeah. Right.
And they were like the transition from wide receiver then to defensive end, and in the combine, we need for you to go play linebacker. And I remember driving 45 minutes every day to Montgomery, Alabama to figure out how to drop. I didn't know how to drop.
Hey,
I know.
Space is something different.
Space is a totally different animal. I still don't like space.
Trust me.
Yeah, trust me. I don't
trust
like
me. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Cover 3. So I went to the Senior Bowl. They said, Demarcus, what do you know about cover 2, cover 3? I can sit here and tell you everything about it.
Right.
But if you told me to do it, that's a different thing. Talking about it and doing it are two different things. I couldn't do it. But guess what? It worked out for me.
That's right. That's right. So I want to hit on the small school idea. And right now, parents are way too involved in their kids' recruiting process, and it becomes more about the parents. But I've got a good friend whose daughter's an elite basketball player. And kind of going through this, do we try to get to a Power 5 school? Do we try to get to this? Or do we go to a smaller school? What's your advice, having gone to a smaller school? I went to Fresno State, so it's a small school as well. What's your opinion on, okay, do I go to a bigger school and maybe sit, not get the looks, or do I go to a smaller school and go perform and ball out?
I think you go to, if it's whatever school it is, you go to a school where you, first of all, are going to be able to get it out there and show people what you can do. Yeah. And go to a school to where they got some nationally televised games. Because my philosophy was, okay, yeah, I'm going to Troy, and every single one of our games would probably be the homecoming game, and we probably lost. Yeah. But I got to go against Marshall and LSU and Missouri, like the Brad Smiths and the Byron Leftwich. Yeah. And they're looking at those guys on national television. Yeah. And if I can hit them a couple times, they got to see me.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it. Use the opportunity that you get to just make the best of it. So if they got to look at them, if they see me making a lot of tackles, like, hold on, I see Byron Leftwich, but who is this guy that keep hitting him?
Right.
Yeah. They're going to start talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to find you.
They're going to find you.
They're
going to find you.
Yeah, especially in this day and age.
Yes.
You know, you can be found if you're good enough.
Yeah.
And that's it. It doesn't matter where you go.
No,
if you don't prepare, if you don't put in the work so that you show up on
you
game
use
day,
it as an
it doesn't
excuse.
matter.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, coach doesn't like me. I don't get
We're not on TV.
Yeah.
No, dude. Hey, you're in this position, like you said, that door open, you're on the field.
Yeah.
Go get it.
And you got to go and get it, and you got to use that opportunity.
So what was it? What year were you drafted again?
05.
05. Okay. So y'all missed each other by a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I missed by 2 years.
Yep.
Just because he's my dude. Talk about the impact that this guy left, right? 2 years after he leaves, the impact and influence that he left on that Dallas defense.
It's not a left. It is etched in stone. Yeah. It's forever. The things that, he's done and the groups that he got to play with and the things that he did. When you go to a team that have a blueprint, and I consider him and say he will be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And I wish he would have been in there. We would have been bumping right now, right? But when you go to a team and they talk about, the Darren Woodsons and the guys that he played with, and you have that blueprint, it was like the sky was the limit, knowing that we can do it. And it all felt like each one of them guys came up the same way that I did, from nothing, and they just worked. Yeah. So it was a really cool experience, and as I keep learning more and more about him, I keep saying that this is a cool ass fucking dude. Yeah. Like I knew that when you play, but you're blinded because you're like, I just got to do this. Yeah. But now you see how it all started, how you're sort of part of that now, and it was just cool, man, to see him walking around the facility. When you see guys that are legends walking around the facility and showing you how it should be done.
Yeah. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So you've seen all that. You've seen, the guys that were before you and including myself and other guys, what they've left behind. When you talk to the people in Dallas, currently today, a lot of guys in Denver that you played with, Von Miller and all that, Von will tell you in a heartbeat, dude, you showed him so much how to be a pro. Even when he was playing at one of the elite levels, he felt like you took his game to the next level. What is it about mentoring guys now that you feel like is just bringing you joy? Because it is joy. I'm watching you working with Micah Parsons and some of the guys, pass rushers today, and I think you need to be more selfish. I think you need to just work with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You don't need to be going any other place.
Exactly.
Teaching other people to move.
I got you. I hear you.
But what is it, man, about that? What's the passion behind mentoring these young guys now?
In college, somebody did that for me. And I did it, they did it so well that I had an opportunity to either take their position, right? And that guy was still there and he had my back. In the NFL, the same thing. The Greg Ellis's, the Jason Ferguson's, the Larry Allen's, the Flozell Adams. Taught me so much. And I proceeded and went further. And I thought to myself, okay, they put themselves second and they saw something in me to make me be a vessel, not just for myself, but for them too, because they're living in me. And now when I go to some of these younger boys, I instill, like in the Von Millers and Aaron Donalds or whoever else that I talk to, the Myles Garrett that come by the facility, and I see the things that I told them, they listen. And they play well, like Shaq Barrett. Baller. And that's what we're supposed to do. It's not even a question. When you're when you're put in a certain place, you're supposed to give back. And when you give back, it keeps living, and you see that. Von Miller going to win the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald going to win the Super Bowl. So how cool is that to see, and they call you before they need to do a speech, and they're like, hey, dude, what should I talk about? What should we talk about? What should I talk about before game day, before the Super Bowl? I remember what you did. Do you know how cool that is?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Man,
Yeah,
I love that.
the analogy I've heard used is life is like it's 2 mountaintops. You spend the first mountain to climb for personal success, seeking out what you want to do with your career, and then you spend that second one exactly how you're saying, in service of others.
Yeah.
So you've accomplished what you want to accomplish, and then that second mountaintop is what.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can be at the bottom of that mountain and you can still give, but only certain people are going to listen.
Yeah.
Because they're going to feel like they're a little higher on that mountain.
Yeah.
But now when you're up at the top of that mountain,
Yes.
they listen even more, so you're able to impact more people.
Yes.
So why not give?
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
It's like, it's inevitable. Like, why not even do it?
And that's a good point, because I think a lot of people listening or watching this, like, well, hey, I'm not a Super Bowl champ. I'm not a Hall of Famer. I'm not first round pick. I'm not this. So why would someone listen to me? But what you said, and I hope that people grabbed it, was some people will listen. That's people. So influence, impact those people for the better, because again, the more you do that, the more you personally grow, right? Because that's accountability for yourself.
Yep.
And then 2 is just the more people you help, it's exponentially happy, because then they're going to help somebody.
Yes.
So I love that, man, because that was one thing I struggled with when I played. You know, I'm in the locker room with some of these guys, and I'm like, man, I'm a fullback. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares what I say. Nobody cares what I do. Now, talking to some of these guys, I was like, dude, Klutzy, like, you were just that dude that I looked at that was just did it. Right? You were a dude that, like, I learned, like, how you treated your wife, how you were with your kids, like how you were with your faith, how you, it doesn't have to be like the hoorah, like,
exactly.
pump them up.
Oh man, so true.
But like live as an example of what you want to represent.
Yep.
So I love that, man.
And the thing is, it might, you see guys, wide receivers, a lot of guys just making plays all the time. But when their fullback makes a play, they don't get a lot of the touchdowns and all that, but when they do make that play, though, like, how impactful is that? Which you already know. And now they're like, holy cow, like, that guy actually did contribute. No, he been contributing his whole time, smashing his head against that linebacker, while this other guy gets to now run and get all.
So y'all
the
celebrated
glory.
when he got his touchdown.
Oh,
y'all
dude.
must have came off the
Because I feel like
first
he was a
time.
linebacker.
Like,
I
in
feel like
the
he was a linebacker.
history, you're like, wait a minute,
Like,
he scored?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, he scored.
Did the whole defense just fall down?
Dude, but I enjoyed it because I feel like a defensive guy scored when the fullback does it.
That's right. That's so
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, D-Ware, man, we appreciate it. We could go all day with you, man.
We got to get you on
back in Dallas, man. We got to get you back on.
Anytime,
and
man. I enjoyed this.
we are so happy for you, man. It couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, man.
With the Hall of Fame, and man, we're so proud of you, man.
And before we leave, I know we said we want to close with this. The only way you get to this point, the only way you get to the point and where we are now, is getting your rest
Yeah.
and sleeping good.
Yeah.
That's why we're here with Sleep Number.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, it don't change my life, change yours. And we know that the faster you can get back on the field, the better you'll be in the long haul and have a long career.
Yeah.
Right.
And, 80% of guys right now, they got a Sleep Number bed, which I
Yeah.
already know that.
Yeah.
And I always say, they say, well, then why you love the bed so much?
Yeah.
I said, when you can get in the bed and it hugs you all through the whole night,
Right.
Yeah.
somebody hugging you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you sleeping good.
It feels like
Cuddling you.
You
Hey,
cuddling you,
mama cuddling you.
mama cuddling you in the bed. That
So,
means a lot.
hypothetical here. If you'd have had a Sleep Number smart bed,
Yep.
rookie year,
Oh,
Rookie year.
man.
Oh,
you'd have had 200 sacks.
200 sacks for sure. We slept on a cot.
Oh, yeah.
You
It was like a cot bed in a Marriott.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Dude.
I'm not
Actually, we used to go and get, in college, we went and got the little crate. Remember the crate?
The egg
thing?
crates.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
heck
egg crate.
yeah.
I got
Oh,
the
yeah.
egg crates at the in training camp. I went and got the egg crates and put it on the
100%.
top.
You go in the dorm rooms and you'd stack 2 mattresses, and then you.
Yeah, and
if
the
you
egg
were-
crate.
Yeah, if you had some pull, you could come in with the big egg
Right.
crate. Otherwise,
or get 2 twins and put them together and make a full.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
You got a sleep number.
I
Look
got a
at
Sleep
you.
Number
You
bed,
come
baby.
up.
finally arrived.
Yes.
Well, man, we appreciate you, man. All
Thanks,
the best.
man.
Enjoy
Yes,
this
sir. Thanks,
weekend.
man.
You deserved it.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you so
brother.
much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.